Alright, so many a times we need to add or remove the element. So from the practical perspective, I can tell you that I manage your database, a student's database in IOTA. I developed that code. So I used to manage the database in list. So after the drop period, many students join the course, some of the students actually drop the course. So how can I update my database? So I can add and I can remove the elements from the existing list. I do not need to create a new database from the scratch. Okay, so let's first talk about how we can add elements into list. So there are built-in functions available. We do not need to write any specific piece of code. So the first function called append. So append method, you may find me using functions and method interchangeably. So do not get confused when I use a term method, because it is actually same, but it will be more clear when we will be discussing classes and objects. Okay, so whenever I use a term method, know that I'm referring to a function. Okay, so append function or method is used to add or append the data in a list. So let's say we have this list as an example containing 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to add a new element. Okay, so using append method, what I can do is I need to add an element in this list, my underscore list. First of all, you write the name of the list, and then you use append, and then you specify what element you want to add. So it will always add the element at the end of the list, at the end of the database. Okay, just like you have an Excel sheet, you have like 10 students and you want to add one more, so it will always be added in the end. Okay, so always remember this, you need to first specify where do you want to add. So again, take an example of multiple U-Haul boxes. Let's say if you have like 5 U-Haul boxes in front of you and I give you a task to add an envelope, am I giving you the complete instruction? I just say that add an envelope. So next thing, what you should be asking me next? You have 5 boxes in front of you, yes? Which box, right? So first, so similarly in your code, you may have like one list, or maybe you may have like a tens of lists. So you need to specify first which list you want to add. So you specify the name of the list that is already created, and then on this list, what operation you want to perform. So here in this particular example, I'm performing append, like adding an element. Okay, so here you can see append method added a new element here, and then you can add another element that will be added after the previously added element. Okay, understand? So append method only takes one argument, what you want to append. What if we want to insert an element somewhere in between? We do not want to add only in the end. So there is another method called insert. Okay, here in the insert method, it requires us to pass 2 arguments. The first one is the location where we want to insert and what we want to insert. Okay, so before a comma, we specify where do we want to insert, and then after comma we need to specify what we want to insert. Okay, so here my list is the name of the container, insert is a method, you specify 2, at location number 2 you're inserting A. So you can see it will 0, 1, and it will insert A here, and then all the elements will be shifted right. Okay, we can also insert it at any other location. I can insert it like, let's say 0. Okay, any question here? So this first method is used to add element at the end. Again, you do not need to really memorize it. Append, you only pass one thing, what you want to append. So when you're not passing anything where to append, it will automatically be appending at the end. Okay, insert, you are required to pass 2 elements. First one is where do you want to insert, and the second one is what do you want to insert. Okay, so we have talked about accessing the elements, updating the elements in a list, adding the elements through different approaches, and now let's move towards removing the elements. Okay, so just like append method or insert method, there is another method called pop method. So pop method helps us remove the element from the end of the list or from the specific location. But there are multiple variants, we'll see. So let's take another example here. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the contents of this list. So when we use a pop method without specifying anything in these braces, it automatically picks up the last value, it removes it, and also returns that value. Okay. So what I'm doing is, on this list, I'm running this operation, pop operation. It will remove the last element and it will also return it. Return means like function, return some value. Okay. So it is returning, removing the last element and returning it. And we are assigning it to another variable so that we can check it out or we can reuse it. If you do not write it like this, if you just perform this operation, the last element will be removed, but you will kind of lost it completely because you're not storing it anywhere. Make sense? So you can, I mean, these are very simple things that we are discussing, and you may construct exam questions yourself. Like I can give you like a structure, any data structure, and I might ask you like how will you add an element, or how will you add an element at a certain location. I may give you some examples of different operations like pop, like add, append, insert. So you would be required to choose the correct one. It's very simple. So whatever we are discussing is not at all useless. It is going to help you score good in your exam, and it is also going to help you prepare for your projects, mini projects as well as the bigger one that you're going to develop later.
So pop is to remove the last element instead of the list, right?
From the list.
Yeah, from the list.
From the list, it picks the last element and remove it.
And is there like a way you can choose certain like elements to remove?
Yes. So we can actually also use the same method, pop, and we can specify the index value, the element at index that we want to remove. Okay. So if you specify any index value here, it will go to that location, for example 0, 1, and it will pick that element, remove it. And of course, pop method always returns the removed value. By saying return means like it is returning, so you can catch it in a variable, in a separate variable. Yep.
So is 2 and 4 removed if you like from that list?
So for example here, it was the initial state of my database, of my data structure. Okay.
Yeah.
When I run pop, it removed 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the updated state is this one.
Okay.
Okay. So when I run pop 1, it will pick the first element,
Okay.
I mean in the index, and it will remove it.
Okay.
Okay.
But if it was just like a full list, like if it was as it was like at the top, you just did pop 1, we just removed just 2, right? Like 4 would.
Yeah, it will remove 2. Yes. Yeah. So when some operation you perform, it will update the list. So next time when you perform another operation, it will perform on the updated list.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any? Yep.
Can you see the other methods as variables?
Can I do what?
See the other methods as variables?
Save the removed values? Yeah, so if you are removing an element using pop, it will remove that element and return it. So just like in this one, I run pop method, it returns, it removes the value 4 and return it. So I saved it in this variable. I cannot hear you properly. The 2, yeah, so I could have also stored it, just like in this case, I could have stored it in another variable. You got it? So you're asking about the 2, which is removed, right? No? I'm having a hard time listening to you properly. Maybe, yep.
The other methods that aren't just pop, like you said you could say pop as a variable. I'm asking if you could say the other methods as variables equals 2, or
To remove the element? To remove the element?
like,
Okay, I'll get back to that later. So pop method is used to remove the element, and there is another method to remove element, okay? If that is your question, then there is another method. But you can always reach out to me later after the class, okay? All right, so here you can see if pop is used like this, it is going to remove the last element. So again, what I'm saying is you can prepare an exam question by yourself. If something is specified in pop, then it is going to remove the element at that index value. There is another one which is very important in comparison to these two. There is another method called remove, okay? And here whatever I specify, it is the actual value that is to be removed. It is not the index, okay? Remove method accepts the value that we want to remove. It is not the index like here, okay? I'm continuously repeating this, so know that it is important, okay? So for example here, I can write my underscore list dot remove. If I just simply specify B, then it will be obvious that we are going to remove B. But do not expect me to give that straightforward and obvious questions in exam, okay? I would give you probably like something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I would say that this. So what element is going to be removed? Is it 3 or is it 2? It's going to be 2 because remove method removes the actual value. Okay, always remember this.